What's going on, everybody? Drew Hancock here with Hancock Off-Road, back for another video. This one is one I've been wanting to do for a little while. I want to talk about some pros and cons about my 2019 Toyota 4Runner TRD Off-Road Edition. I sold my 2014 Tacoma and I bought this 4Runner back in January. I've owned it for about 3 or 4 months now. I've done a couple things to it here and there. Some of the stuff came already on it when I bought it. But mainly I just wanted to go over a couple things that I do like about it and what I don't like about it. As everyone knows, the 5th Gen 4Runners are probably one of the most versatile off-roading vehicles compared to Jeeps as far as aftermarket and following and all that jazz. But I just wanted to kind of go over a few things, potentially talk about some stuff that we're going to do to the 4Runner here in the coming months. I've got a lot in store for it and just wanted to talk about it with you guys. Alright, so I really don't know where I want to start with this. You know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with the cons. And when I originally titled this, I was going to do 5 cons and 5 pros. Well, honestly, and truth be told, I really don't have too many cons regarding this vehicle. I've actually really enjoyed it. I was going to get a full-size vehicle. I was looking at a Silverado and I ended up finding this one, and I immediately just fell in love with it. But we could talk about some of the things that I liked about it when I got it. But first, the cons. The biggest one, and I think anybody pre-2020 is going to say the same exact thing, is the technology. I don't know what it is about Toyota, but technology is just very late when it comes to getting the most up-to-date technology. In this 4Runner, I've actually got the same infotainment system that I had in my 2014 Tacoma. It's just very bland. It really doesn't have a lot going on. There's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Thankfully, you know, it does have Bluetooth audio, but it's just a very outdated technology when it comes to the radio and some of the other features. You know, when I was looking at this truck, it had everything that I wanted, you know, remote start, all that jazz, and this really didn't have a lot. But some of the stuff that I am going to talk about were some of the reasons what sold me on this vehicle. But the next thing that I got to say on the list is probably the A-Track system. And the A-Track system, from what my understanding is from Toyota, is it's for the off-roading side of it and making sure that all the wheels are spinning at a certain revolution. Like, it's, I don't know, it's really weird. But either way, when this vehicle's got crawl control, and I end up having to turn off A-Track because, and everyone and people who own Toyotas know this, when you got that A-Track on, you just hear a bunch of clicking and a bunch of relays popping and all that jazz. It's just like super cringe to hear all of it. So most of the time I end up just turning it off altogether, not have to worry about it. The next thing on my list is fuel efficiency, and honestly, this is no big surprise for anybody who owns a 4Runner. I actually have a set of 33-inch, 33 by 1250 Atura Trail blades on my 4Runner now that I was going to put on my Tacoma, and I ended up putting them on here. And even before putting the tires on, I had these little rinky-dink street tires, and I was probably getting about the same fuel mileage, maybe a mile or a half or more average-wise, but nothing too crazy. And funny enough, I can actually get, sometimes, I can probably get about 19.5 to 20 gallons if I do it right. But in regards to fuel efficiency, I really wish the 4Runners had a bigger gas tank. That's my thing. It's only about 15 gallons. It only, you know, if you really milk it, you can probably get about 310 miles out of the range on it. But most of the time, on a full tank, it's about 280, 290-ish. Somewhere around that time frame. That's 3 cons. I really tried to find 2 more, but I really couldn't. I literally walked the vehicle over and just tried to be negative about it. I guess really the only negative that I would add is probably doesn't come in a V8 variant. It's strictly the 4.0 liter. But I'll just tandem off that and go into the pros with that statement. I wrote down about 5, and just talking it out, I really have a couple more, but not really too many. The biggest thing for me, as far as the pros go, are the off-road capabilities that these things can do. With the TRD Off-Road Edition, you get rear locking differential, you're going to get crawl control, you're also going to get downhill descent, or I'm sorry, not downhill descent, you're going to get crawl control, and then you're also going to get your different drive select modes. So you got like mud and sand, and then it goes all the way up to heavy, which is like rock and all that jazz. So the drive modes are very selective and very versatile when it comes to different driving styles. The other favorite thing that I like about this is that it's a manual transfer case, so it's 4 on the floor type deal. But we took this in another vehicle riding in the Alabama Rubicon Talladega National Forest. We started in Silicaga. We did about 30 miles worth of trail riding, and it handled great. I mean, I literally had no complaints. I should have aired down just a little bit just to get a smoother ride, but for real, we stayed in 2-wheel drive for majority of the time. The only times we really kept it in 4-wheel drive when we were doing technical stuff, you know, which were more, you know, angled crawling and type deal. But other than that, I mean, it handled like a champ. I mean, these Aturos that are on here now, they just got such a great tread pattern and sidewall, and they just really gripped and ripped, and it was a very fun experience to go out and do this and use all the crawl control features on the vehicle. Alright, so the next one that I wanted to talk about is going to be the styling. And if there is one thing that people will tell you about 4Runners in general, is that the 5th gen 4Runner has had the same body style with a couple revisions over the past 14 years. Toyota is going to be coming out with the 6th gen 4Runner here within the next 1.5 to 2 years, and they're doing a complete redesign, and it's great we're getting it. But at the same time, Toyota knew what they were doing when it comes to just keeping it simple and just leaving what you got. I mean, they have perfected the looks and, you know, keeping it really aggressive looking. The headlights look really aggressive, even from the factory. The grills, the bumpers, like all the factory stuff on the 5th gen, they just look super good to me. They look really good, and you can add all the extra flair and make it look even better. But if you're buying a 5th gen 4Runner off the lot, and you're buying these higher end trim models like a TRD Pro or Off-Road or an Off-Road Premium Edition, they just come super aggressive looking. They come mean, and they just look really good. I mean, they're really good vehicles. I mean, they look really good, they ride really good, and that's what's coming up to my next point, is going to be, you know, being comfortable in it. So the next point that I want to talk about is the comfortability of the 4Runner. One of the biggest things that I was worried about getting into this SUV was going to be the space, because when I had my Tacoma, the biggest complaint that I had was space. You could barely, you cannot fit two average sized humans in the back seat and then be comfortable. I mean, plain and simple. Front seats comfortable all day long, but you're just getting a really spacey single cab, in my opinion. I mean, I'm a tall guy, I'm almost 6 foot, I seat all the way back, leg room was a pain. It just was not a comfortable vehicle to carry people on long distances. Around town it wasn't an issue, but long distances it was very uncomfortable. And I've even sat in the back of my own car and let somebody else drive, and it wasn't good. Like, it was just a terrible experience. So when I was looking for a new vehicle, like I said, I wanted to get a full-size truck that's go around, but then I saw this vehicle at the dealership, and I really wanted to just give it a shot, just because, like, okay, you know, Toyota, I know what the maintenance like is going to be on it. I know what I could do to it. I've got extra parts sitting at home that I can put on this. So I got in the vehicle and I drove it. I drove it probably about an hour, and honestly, I was, you know, taken away on how comfortable and cozy the whole cabin felt. I got it to a parking lot, got out, I kept the driving position that I normally keep when I'm driving, that I was comfortable at my height, sat in the back seat, and it had a lot of room. It had a decent amount of room for you to actually sit in the back seat and be comfortable. And again, you know, after buying it, I was able to ride in the back seat and let somebody else drive the vehicle at one point in time, and I had zero complaints about it. The headroom is good, the leg room is good, the overall width distance between you and the next person was just the right amount. You sit in this and it really, like, it's not a Tahoe by any means, it's nothing like that, it's not a Sequoia, but like for a mid-size SUV, it was actually very spacious for what it is. And it was just overall comfortable to ride it. I mean, even driving it, I love driving it long distances. I take it everywhere. You know, I haven't taken it on a full trip with it yet. Maybe, I think the most I've ever gone out of the way is probably about an hour and a half, somewhere around that type. But overall, it was a very comfortable ride, and I love it. I love driving it. It's great. So the next point, to kind of pivot off that, is to talk about the storage and what all you can put in it. 4Runner actually does have the capability of hauling a good amount of stuff. There are instances where I've had to lay the seats down, but even then, like, I fit 4 33-inch tires in the back of the 4Runner, and on top of that, I fit a Lucky Duck kennel, like one of the massive single molded kennels, in the car as well, and it all fit. I mean, the kennel itself in length is probably about 32 inches, 33 inches long, somewhere around that. But overall, it's got a lot of room to store things. I have no problem with it. I think if I ever had to really truly haul something, I got a 6x12 trailer at home that I could just hook up to and take it. But putting the kennel in, duffel bags, putting in some duffel bags and a couple of other things, it has no problem with it at all. That's actually one of the compliments that I will say that I do like about this car, is that you can fit a decent amount of stuff in, and it proved me wrong. The last thing that I do want to bring up, so I guess there will be 6 points on the pros. This is a no-brainer. This is the most common one that everyone talks about, the reliability. This was the main reason why I bought this vehicle. The reliability on all Toyotas are just phenomenal. I see people on the forums, I see people on different Facebook groups, people are getting over 300,000+ miles on these things. As long as you keep up with the maintenance and do what you're supposed to, these things are tanks, man. These things will run forever. You could literally do all these long distance trips and not have to think twice about something happening. You can get in the car, go as long as you want to, put it through however much hell you want to, and they're tanks. You can't break them. I mean, obviously if you do something stupid, you're going to break it, but I mean, just the longevity and reliability out of these things is phenomenal. And then to pivot off that statement and that point, the resale value on the 4Runners is phenomenal. I mean, there are people still selling vehicles that are 4 years older than mine with $30,000 or $40,000, I'm sorry, 30 or 40,000 more miles than what I've got now, and they're still selling them for the mid-20s. I mean, you just can't beat it. These are a great vehicle that if you want to get into it, ride it out for a couple years, you can definitely get your money back, if not some, on this Toyota 4Runner. And you know, that was the overall peace of mind of the reason why I bought mine. I really liked the Silverado. I like what it had. It had all the bells and whistles. But the overall longevity, reliability, and resale value of this vehicle was just, those pros made so much more sense in the long run than getting the Silverado. Especially with some of the newer ones, that the issues that they're having now with lifters and motor issues and transmission issues and just all that jazz. So that's what I'll say about that point. Overall, I've listed 6 pros and 3 cons. My overall general thoughts on it: it's a great vehicle. I love it. I've only owned it for 3 or 4 months, and I'll tell you, this is probably my favorite vehicle that I've owned thus far, and I've owned a lot of vehicles over the years. The reliability of it, the aftermarket accessories that you get with it, the styling of it, just the overall 4Runner experience is the best. I have no complaints to it. I've only done about 8,000 to 9,000 miles of me owning the vehicle, but it's Toyota. I mean, like I said, you just can't beat them with a stick, man. They are just an overall great experience. The community is great. The off-road capabilities are even more amazing. And I'm just super excited I get to experience it. I'm hoping, I just bought a roof rack for it. I'm hoping to get a rooftop tent, and I'm hoping to take more off-road adventures with friends, do some camping, do some more trail riding, do some more mud riding. Like, I don't feel like I have to worry about tearing something up unless I'm just absolutely being stupid with it, but just having fun with it and not have to really worry about too much of what goes on behind the scenes of it. But again, overall, that's my opinion on the 2019 Toyota 4Runner, just the 5th gen 4Runner overall. I can't wait to put 1 million miles on this thing. Hopefully I get to keep it that long to put that type of miles on here. But overall, I love it. It's a great vehicle, and honestly, I would probably recommend it to anybody. And anybody who wants to get in an off-road way, or an off-road scene, and wants something dependable, reliable, this is the vehicle for you.